Let us begin. So we are going to go through point by point, right? And when we feel there is a requirement of discussing some points into more detail, then that also I'll be doing, right? So factors to evaluate investments: safety, liquidity, returns, convenience, ticket size, taxability of that instrument, and tax deduction, right? What is the amount of deduction that you want to take? So these are all the different points that you need to consider before making an investment, right? Everyone's ability to take and risk differs. The liquidity of the product, which will also differ, right? Because there might be some requirement of the of the customer that he or she requires the fund in 6 months, 1 year. But if you invest into a product which is not liquid, which is, let's say, 1 year or 2 year lock-in, then that won't be an apt product for that client. Returns, so again, depends on the risk taking ability and the amount of returns that this customer wants, right? So that will be a very important factor in deciding which instrument or which investment to do. Many more. There is convenience, there is also ability. So if the client or you or anyone is able to invest, then they can opt for the investments. If they are not able to, they can find if there is a possibility of a lower investment ticket size, or let's say an mode of payment, right? So we have lump sum payments, we have SIP, systematic investment plan, right? So that's what are these different factors. Moving on, different asset classes: real estate, commodities, fixed income, equity, right? There is also currency, right? In commodities, there will be several things. There will be grains, food grains, there will be oil, right? All of that comes under commodity. You must be knowing of few more commodities or few more asset classes as well, which obviously are being newly introduced. Those are also there. There are few, like crypto and many more like that. There are alternate investments where you can invest into antiques, you can invest into paintings. So those all different asset classes are also there, right? So investments in equity and bonds can be done only in financial form, whereas one can buy other two assets, that is real estate and commodities, either in financial form or physical form as well, right? So I think we can go ahead. Doesn't need to be explained that much, right? Commodities and real estate, you can feel it. It's tangible, right? So it can be invested through a physical form or a financial form as well. Equity and bonds, mostly into financial and okay. So real estate and commodities differ from equity and bonds in another way. These can be bought as an investment and also as consumption purposes as well, right? So if you buy a house, you will stay in it. That will be consumption of that asset class. If you buy, let's say, food grains, it is used for consumption as well and also as an investment, right? But the same is not true for the equity and bonds. You cannot consume it. You're just buying it as form of an investment. Inflation, that is price inflation, is the general rise in the prices of various commodities, products, and services that we consume. Inflation erodes the purchasing power of money. So if you have 100 rupees today, the same 100 rupees will not be worth 100, let's say, in a year. If the inflation is at 6%, your 100 rupees will be worth 94, right? Because you have to reduce your purchasing power. So along with inflation, we also have another concept, another phenomenon that is occurring. It is known as shrinkflation. Okay, so inflation is where the product's price goes up, right? So if we are buying 1 kg of apple in 100 rupees, next year it becomes 106 rupees, right? And it went up by 6 rupees. That is inflation. There is also shrinkflation where, let's say you were able to buy 12 apples in 100 rupees, but next year you will be able to only buy 10 apples in the same 100 rupees, right? So where you were able to buy 12, now the quantity what you were able to buy in the same amount went down, right? So that's also one phenomenon that occurs, that is shrinkflation. Now let us move on. We talked about the different asset classes. Now a little bit about debt, right? So the issuer of debentures is the borrower, whereas the investor is the lender. The issuer agrees to pay the interest and repay the principal as per agreed schedule. Credit risk is all about the possibility that an issuer pays the dues, but with some delay, or the issuer does not pay the principal and the interest at all, right? So there are different types of risks. We'll take a look at that in the coming slides. Most of these risks are obviously associated with debt as well. Very high risk is associated with equity. Debt has a relatively low risk, yet you do take into consideration that what are these different types of risks that affect debt as well. Okay, so credit risk, where issuer pays maybe the dues, maybe does not, maybe there is a delay in giving the principal amount or even the interest, right? That is also possible. There is a delay. Then there is interest rate risk. So interest rate risk is where, let's say you bought a debt product where the interest that has been promised 8% का इंटरेस्ट आपको बोला गया है 1 साल का, ठीक है, आपने 100 लगाया है और आपको 8% इंटरेस्ट मिलने वाला है, ठीक है, throughout the year, okay, all went good. You got, maybe towards the end of the year, or let's say in the 10th month, the interest rates of the competitors या दूसरे bonds जो है, दूसरे debt products जो है, उनका ऊपर गया, okay, or maybe the interest rate changed. That's what I'm talking about. तो in that case, अगर वो बाहर से आपको interest मिल रहा है 9% या 10%, आपने एक जगह पे जहाँ पे 8% के इंटरेस्ट पे लगाया हुआ है पैसा, then you will be at a loss, right? So in those cases, you will have to take your money out from this place and invest in the another place where you will be able to get a 9% or 10% interest. Yeah, so that is the interest rate risk. This affects all the debt products, right? Due to the interest rate, which is due to the fluctuating interest rates. All right, so a bit about the risk we talked about, right? These are the several risks that you need to take into consideration, right? There is interest rate risk, credit risk, there is market risk, there is also reinvestment risk, right? So if you are getting basically, let's say 8% values, 8% return somewhere, but you withdraw your money from there, you invest somewhere else, maybe there you will be getting just 6%, right? So that comes across as a loss, right? So that is known as the reinvestment risk. So there are many more. We'll take a look at that on the way, right? Next, moving on to the confirmation bias. So these are a few biases that each individual has. Maybe they are aware of these biases, maybe unaware of the biases, right? Everyone has these biases. What are these? Some of these biases. There is a confirmation bias, right? Where it is the tendency to look for additional information that confirms to the already held beliefs or views. So I am thinking debt is a very good product. Okay. I am thinking debt will give me a lot of return. Now that may be true, may not be true, right? But I am looking for such information. I am looking for such articles that will confirm that debt is a best product. Okay. So I already have made up my mind. I already have my own beliefs, my own views. I always look for such information. I just disregard other information. I disregard information that says equity might give me better returns, right? Equity might be a better product for me. But I just keep looking at such information, such additional information that confirms to my belief. Okay. So that is confirmation bias. That can be, I mean, these biases can be harmful, especially if you are, investing into the market. Next, there is familiarity bias. Okay, so an individual tends to prefer a familiar over something very new. That is why we are very much, we do not want change, right? So, like the popular proverb, a known devil is better than an unknown angel, right? An angel is better, but it might be even more beneficial to us, but it's an unknown angel, right? So we say a known devil, at least we know this person, we are familiar with it. Even if it is not beneficial for us, we are not open to trying something new, right? That is one bias, familiarity bias, right? So then we have herd mentality. ठीक है, man is a social animal, human beings love to be part of the group. So herd mentality क्या है? अगर सब लोग कर रहे हैं मैं भी करूंगा, राइट? अगर सब लोग उसको नहीं कर रहे हैं मैं भी नहीं करूंगा. That is not always, it is not always true, it is not always correct, right? So as much as possible you can avoid, these all are the biases that are affecting individuals, right? So herd mentality. And you can also notice most of the big players in the market, they say that you cannot ever make money in the market if you are, doing as per the market is doing. Or let's say if you're following herd mentality, the chances of making money is very low because everyone is doing it. You are also being part of it. You get a little bit, the little bit return which is shared among thousands others, right? But if you go against the grind, if you go against the movement of the water, if you are, clear on your view, then you might make a really, let's say, higher profits, right? So that's one con of herd mentality. Then there is loss aversion. This is also another bias. People's tendency to prefer avoiding losses to acquiring equivalent gains. Okay, so it's better to lose 5,000 rather than gain 5,000. In such a behavior, often people stay away from the profitable opportunities due to perception of high risk. रिस्क कम भी होगा, लेकिन उनको वो पता चलेगा, अगर उनको लगेगा कि 5,000 का अगर लॉस हो रहा है, जहां पे 5,000 का प्रॉफिट भी मिलने वाला था, बट दे आर मोर फोकस्ड ऑन नॉट टेकिंग द लॉस, राइट? So that is why they would full on, avert. They will not invest in that product only if there is no chances of a 5,000 rupees loss. They don't look at the 5,000 rupees gain, which also might have been, which might have been there. Then there is overconfidence bias. It refers to a person's overconfidence in one's own abilities or judgment, right? Leads to believe that the person is far better, where the reality might be something different, right? So in such, in that situation, the person lowers their own guard, right? If you have a very high, you are very guarded, if you are very confident, then you will take a lot of, let's say, you will do a lot of analysis. You will not take risk without any assessment, right? But in overconfidence, you tend to overlook that, and that might lead to a problem. Then there is recency bias. So which you heard, recency, very, easy to understand. रिसेंसी मतलब अभी अगर जो रिसेंट इंफॉर्मेशन हमको मिला है उसी के ऊपर हम लोग काम करेंगे. अगर मेरे दिमाग में एक चीज आया था वो भी अभी 10 मिनट पहले, मैं उसी के ऊपर बात करूंगा, राइट? रिसेंसी बायस. इंस्टेड ऑफ लुकिंग एट इवेंट दैट हैपेंड, लेट्स से 1 year बैक, एन इवेंट विच हैपेंड 1 month ago is on my mind, right? I take decisions according to a very recent event. That is recency bias. Impact of recent events on decision making. A bear market or financial crisis can lead people to prefer safe assets. A bull market makes people allocate more than what is advised for risky assets. So recent experience, कल परसों एक महीना पहले जो हुआ था, it impacts a lot on your decision making rather than एक साल पहले जो हुआ था. ठीक है. Next, we want to talk about asset allocation. Asset allocation is the process of allocating money across various asset categories in line with the stated objective. Okay? अपना पहले ऑब्जेक्टिव सेट कर दिया कि अगर मुझे 5 साल बाद 10 साल बाद this is the amount that I require, this is the corpus that I want to build. According to that, there will be an asset allocation done, right? Some, we say that we should be diversified. Some should be into equity. Some of your investment should be into debt. Some into liquid, liquid investments. Some you can invest into fixed assets, right? So that's the diversified asset allocation. Strategic asset allocation is the allocation aligned to the financial goals of the individual. It considers the returns that are required from the portfolio, given the time horizon available for the corpus and the risk profile of the individual. So a strategy is made according to the individual. Okay, this is you can say outwards. Sorry. So from the point of view of an individual, what is the risk profile of the individual? When does he or she want the money back? What are his or her risk-taking ability or goals? Depending on that, a strategic asset allocation is made. Next is tactical asset allocation. So this tactical asset allocation, it changes according to the current situation, according to the market. Okay, so the purpose of such an approach may be to take the advantage of opportunities presented by various markets at different points in time. And the primary reason for that is improving the risk adjusted return of the portfolio. So, helps if it always helps if you are taking advantage of the different market scenarios. If you feel that or if the fund manager feels that there is going to be a dip in the coming month or something like that, then the allocation can be changed. Okay, if he or she feels that there is going to be a up move, in that case, more of allocation can be done towards equity. So that is according to the situation. So tactical is according to the market condition, according to the situation. Strategic asset allocation is according to the individual. Okay. Next. So we are on NISM 5A. We are going through that. So what is it about? It is about mutual fund. So mutual fund is a trust that pools the savings of number of investors who share a common financial goal, and it offers opportunity to invest into diversified, professional managed basket of securities at a relatively lower cost. So let's say you and me individually, we do not know where to invest, right? I don't know how to research, so I don't know where to invest. And if I want to invest in something, let's say something like MRF, which is somewhere about 75,000 per share, I won't be able to do that. Okay. But instead of that, I would be giving my money to a mutual fund where, like me, there might be several other people who do not know how to research. They would be instead pooling in their money with a mutual fund, who in turn, through a fund manager, will be investing in several such stocks, right? Then there will be a benefit of diversification, right? Also, I, as an individual, will be able to get exposure to several different stocks, which I would not be able to have, let's say, I would not be able to buy individually. Okay. But here, through mutual fund, I'll be able to get an exposure to that.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.